Hello van fans, welcome to another episode of VFF's Vanlife Podcast. How are you doing? I've had a really exciting week this week. I now have a website, VFFsvanlife.com. It's a great place to go and check out all the exciting plans that I have for the future of VFFs. So that's pretty cool. I didn't realise how frustrating it can be to build a website, so that was an interesting experience that I hope to never repeat again. The other exciting thing that happened as a result of that is I was Googling my website to see if it would come up in the search results, and a result came up for the Apple Podcast charts for Great Britain hobbies category. So I was like, oh, why did that come up? And I noticed that my podcast name was highlighted in the results, and I was like, oh my goodness, am I in the charts? So I went on the website and I was scrolling through and I was like, oh my god, they're just messing with me, I'm not here. And eventually I got down to number 89 and there I was. What can I say? It was such a proud moment. And it looked like I'd gone down 48 places from the week before. So I looked into the ranking history and anyway, apparently I was at number 7 on the Apple Podcast charts for hobbies in the UK and I didn't even know. I beat Casual Watch Talk by one position. I beat Beekeeper's Corner Beekeeping Podcast. So that was all very exhilarating. I just want to get up now. I'm hungry for it now. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta get to the top. So yeah, proud moment. Onwards and upwards from here. I did mention it in the last episode, but I just want to remind you guys that I'm doing a pet-isode soon. So that's an episode completely dedicated to our furry friends. I'm hoping to get all different kinds of animals included in that. If you have a pet that you'd like to feature, or if you have a story that you'd like to be featured in the pet-isode of VFFs, then please do get in touch at vffspodcast@gmail.com. It's pretty dog heavy at the moment, which is awesome, but it's really nice to hear from people that have slightly unusual pets in their van. I'm talking to someone at the moment who has a snake and another person that has a parrot, so that's kind of cool, and you'll hear about that in the pet-isode. If you want to stay up to date with when these things are going to be released or other features that I'm going to do, you can go to the Facebook page. Just type VFFs podcast into Facebook and you should find it. I just want to take a minute to talk about social media versus reality. So something that I have noticed when interviewing people for my podcast, there seems to be a running theme of people feeling like they've failed or they're not doing van life right because of what they've seen on social media. So I just want to say that if you've just started this journey and you're comparing yourself to those squeaky clean YouTubers and Instagrammers, I hope you know that you're not alone. I think it's actually like a really common feeling to feel that way. I'm someone that has never really used Instagram or YouTube when it comes to van life stuff, but I can relate to that. And it is weird because it's not as if you even want to compare yourself, but I think you just like automatically do. For example, I came across another UK Vanlife podcast the other day, and my first reaction was like, oh my god, I've got friends, this is amazing, which was nice, but it quickly turned when I saw that they had 1,000 likes on Facebook. I felt like a proper gut punch feeling of like, oh, you're not good enough because you've only got 100 likes. And I was so surprised by that. It just came out of nowhere. So I just think it's like a weird human thing that we do. And I just want to say, don't worry about it. You're awesome. And if you do find yourself having those thoughts, I think it's important just to remember that you can observe those thoughts. You don't have to feel it. You can be like, oh, that's interesting. I'm comparing myself to that person. Okay then, and just move on. Like, don't get so wrapped up in it because it's not worth it. You're awesome. If you're in a van and you're alive, then you're doing van life right, okay? So just remember that. Anyway, in order to dispel this silly, squeaky clean, fake van life that people see on the internet, I'm starting a segment called Van Life Confessions. So I'll start. When I used to have my little Suzuki Carry, I used to go out in it in the daytime, and one day I was out and about on a lovely boiling hot August day and I needed to use the toilet. So I got my trusty toilet bucket out of the cupboard. I didn't use toilet chemicals and stuff in those days. I just used a plastic bag inside a bucket. So I used it, did a poo, put it back in the cupboard and completely forgot about it. 10 days later, I came to my van, opened the cupboard, and the smell is something that I will never forget. It was absolutely horrendous. It was like the smell of death. It was so strong that it was permeating out of a sealed plastic bucket. You would think that I would just throw it in the bin. Well, I didn't. I just washed it and I carried on using it. So there you go. That's my van life confession. What's yours? If you do want to share some seriously non-Instagrammable confessions, you can email vffspodcast@gmail.com. So on to this week's guest. This week I talk to Lizzie. After hiring a campervan and driving around California, Lizzie returned to London with the van life bug and made the impulsive decision to purchase Winnie, a long wheelbase Mercedes Sprinter ex-work van. After 3 months of hard work, she moved into her full-time home just in time for the global pandemic to hit. Timing her. We talk about her very well-travelled guinea pig, staying mentally healthy on the road, feminism in the alternative living world, and the ups and downs of life as a solo female van lifer. And just keeping things on the toilet theme, the bonus feature for this week is The Day I Got My Toilet. Groundbreaking podcasting as ever. Without further ado, here is the interview with Lizzie. Hi Lizzie.
Hello.
Welcome to VFFs. Thank you so much for coming on.
That's all right. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
So how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. It's a pretty grey day where I am. It's a little bit chilly, but I'm all right. Super positive. How are you?
Yeah, I'm the same. It's pretty cold here, so I'm wrapped up in a blanket and I've got my hot water bottle and my hot drink here to keep me going. Right then, so let's start with a bit of van chat. So what van do you have?
So I've got a long wheelbase, high top Mercedes Sprinter, 2013, I think.
Most importantly, what colour is it?
It's white. I'm a white van driver, which is something I never thought I'd say.
Is it like a stealth van or?
I've got fans on the top, a solar panel on the top, so it's fairly obvious that it's a camper. Maybe it's a bit more stealthy than some campers, somewhere in the middle of the range, I reckon.
Did you name the van? Does it have a name?
Yeah, she's called Winnie. She's an ex-Heathrow Airport van, so I like to think I'm giving her kind of her second lease of life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm very attached to her.
That's so funny. My last car was called Winnie, and the first day I got it, I left it for half an hour. I came back out and it was absolutely covered in seagull shit. So I was like, oh, there we go, Winnie the Pooh. Perfect.
Oh my God, that's amazing. You know what? I hadn't even put two and two together as Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's good. That means if you can keep the poo-based moments low, I think that's good. So it was an ex-Heathrow Airport van. Was it like a what did it do at what did she do, I should say, at Heathrow?
You know what? I've no idea. I just got her from an old van dealership. But she was very much just boarded up as a work van. when I got her, so I was very much starting from the start when building her out.
When did you get Winnie?
So I got her a year ago yesterday, actually. Yeah, it was a bit of a spur of the moment thing. I've been thinking about it for maybe a couple of months, and then I was having a particularly shit day at work, and I decided to log off early and just go and look at vans, and I had no intention of buying one, but then I walked away having put a deposit down on one, so there we go, yeah.
That's so amazing. So it was just a real impulsive decision?
Pretty much, like, it was the final jump. Like, it had really been in, like, alternative living. I've been thinking about maybe a canal boat or something for, like, the year before, but that didn't feel like it was going to work at that point in my life. So, yeah, I did a road trip around America in a campervan, well, around California, not the whole of America, and that was amazing. And, like, when I got back from that, I just could not get the van life out of my head. I was just like, it feels right. But that final jump into actually buying one was very much, yeah, I'll just do that now.
Oh, wow. Okay, we'll definitely come back to the California trip. That sounds amazing. Great. And then, so you got it in December, and what happened next?
So I was living in a flat in London, so I started building out straight away. I quite maybe preemptively gave in my notice for my flat, so I really gave myself a hard deadline to get her livable by, which with hindsight maybe wasn't the most sensible thing to do. Like 3 months is really not that long, especially when you're working full time.
Oh my goodness.
And it's winter. But it was a case of working full time, and then as soon as I got home, spending like 4 or 5 hours in the evening in there in the freezing cold, in the dark, like all by torchlight, getting all the insulation done and stuff. Yeah, I had some lovely friends and family help me out on weekends and things, so yeah, really thankful to them. And then in February this year, 2020, I moved into her full time, not knowing what this year would become. Maybe not the best time to move into a van, but yeah, it's been a wild ride.
Baptism of fire.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure I would rate moving into a van full time during a pandemic to anybody.
Even just in February is pretty rough, I would say.
Well, yeah, and that, yeah. So it was, I say I'd moved into it, like, it wasn't done. It was just livable. Like, I had a bed and I had methods for cooking, but, like, the insulation wasn't finished on the ceiling. So I was sleeping in, like, fully clothed, scarf, hat, woolly socks, 3 different hot water bottles and multiple blankets.
Oh my goodness.
So I think I was just still living on the high of having a van, to be honest, but like, I'm very surprised that I carried on. It was quite a way to start.
Wow. What was your first night like when you were in there on your own, freezing cold?
Yeah, so I work in London, although 2020, I'm not working in London, obviously, but the time I was parked somewhere in East Dulwich, I think. You know, there's hardly anywhere in London that isn't noisy, and I don't have windows in the back of my van, which now I'm really thankful for, because when there's loads of noise going on, and like now I'm not really too bothered by it, but at first every little noise just made me absolutely terrified. I'm quite thankful that I didn't put windows in the back, because otherwise I think I'd be twitching the curtains constantly. What is going on? I think on that first night it was just a complete mixture of what the hell have I done? Like, I had a really nice, cosy flat where I felt very safe, and now I'm sat on a random road in the middle of London in a huge van. What is wrong with me? But also just complete excitement for, like, what was to come, you know, for the independence it was providing me with. So a complete mixture of feelings. And to be honest, I think that sums up van life. Like, after doing it for however long, 10 months now, it's still very much that. It's really high highs and really low lows, but the high highs really make it worth it.
Thanks for listening to this preview of VFF's Vanlife Podcast. You can listen to the full episode at vffsvanlife.com/podcast. Hope you enjoy it.
I've got to go outside.